It's the Critics Circle with me, Charles Gross, and Leslie Hoban Blake. Tonight, an interview with Jean Lichty, the artistic director of LA Femme Theater Company. Plus, live pop-ups return to Broadway, how we would cast our favorite shows, and what's coming to the theater. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Critics Circle. How are you, Leslie?
Oh, Charlie, I'm fine. As you know, it's a year. It's over a year now. I'm fine. I'm vaccinated. Okay. That's good.
Vaccinated is very good. But we are a little short on time because we've got so much to talk to you guys about today. So we're going to go straight to our interview.
It's our great pleasure today to have with us Jean Lichty, who is the artistic director of LA Femme Theater. And I'm thrilled for many reasons, not the least of which is that she's a female artistic director, if I may sound sexist for a moment. And all the other artistic directors that we've interviewed have been male. And she also has a wonderful track record with plays that have great parts for women, not the least of which is because she's an actress. So, and she's in the current production of Night of the Iguana that she put on as a streamer to celebrate Tennessee Williams' 110th birthday, and is directed by the great Emily Mann. And on that note, I would love to turn this over to Charlie.
Yes, my first question is, what prompted you to start this company? I think you started it in 2015.
The idea came, I am a Barnard, a very proud Barnard alum, and I had been taking a course that the alumni office offers on women and memoirs. And my incredible professor and teacher, Lori Rustoff, she took us to see The Dinner Party, because we were also taking, she had a side course on female artists. And so we went to see Judy Chicago's The Dinner Party at Brooklyn Museum. And I remember walking into the dinner party, and it's like over 100 place settings of women who have accomplished something on our planet. And it was so moving to me that I said to Lori and my classmates, I want to start a theater company that highlights the female experience. And that's what I did. And Austin, who had been my mentor since Bus Stop, since doing Cherie in 2000.
This is Austin Pendleton.
Austin Pendleton, yes.
Who I should say is also in this production.
He's also integral to how Night of the Iguana evolved. But Austin said, I think it's a brilliant idea. I will be on your board. And Austin's never agrees to be on people's boards. And so we moved forward, and I had met people through Bus Stop. Bus Stop was a very seminal project in my life. And they also encouraged me and gave me financial funding. And it was kind of a miracle the way it all pulled together.
So all of this makes me think about the idea that you're an actress, and your background is in acting, I should say.
Absolutely.
And as an artistic director, do you find that to be a help? Do you find that to be a hindrance? Is it anything in between? What is the world like for an actor turned artistic director?
I think that's a great question, Leslie. And I think, in all honesty, it's somewhere in between. But it has been very difficult, particularly initially, because you're just seen as your projects are seen as vanity projects, to be honest with you. That was initially. Austin Pendleton gave me a lot of validity, and I will be forever grateful to Austin Pendleton. And I don't think that we would have had the success that we had initially if it were not for Austin coming aboard as the director and supporting the theater company.
You won a Drama Desk nomination, did you not?
But that, I was not in it. That was Rocket to the Moon, and I was not in it. I was just producing. Yes, okay. Yes, well, Jonathan Heddery.
Which brings me to my favorite artistic director question.
Okay.
What do you do?
Everything. That's a great question also. And particularly during the pandemic and with Zoom and StreamYard is how we recorded Night of the Iguana, I found I was doing everything. I have never worked so hard in my life. When it's a physical production, you have a production, not only a PSM, production stage manager, and a general manager, but you also have the production manager who handles all the scenery and the set, and they run the production meetings. we didn't have that physical production manager this time in our virtual reality. And so I found that I was doing everything. I had a great team, mind you. I absolutely respect all the work that they did, but I was constantly making sure that things had to get done. And if they didn't get done, sometimes I just did them. And
I guess my question should have been, what don't you do?
Well, okay, fine. Some of the financials, I'm not, I don't have a great business background. So some of those I really do let the general manager take over. But I remember seeing Oprah Winfrey interviewed, and she said one of the first things she did when she started her company is that she made sure that she signed every check. And if she didn't sign every check, she wanted to know what it was all about. So I don't sign every check, but I ask many questions about those checks and who they're addressed to and why, if I don't know.
What made you decide on this wonderful Tennessee Williams play?
Well, I would say in last April, a year ago, it became really clear to me that this pandemic was not ending in a month or so. We had a Red Devil, another wonderful Tennessee Williams play, but one of his later plays, pretty controversial, the Red Devil Battery Sign, that was scheduled to—
I've seen that. There was one production of it. I did get to see it off Broadway.
The one with Elizabeth Ashley? Wow, well, I would love, well, that
I know.
one,
Well, I'm old, I used to go to everything. I'm old.
that's a bastardized version of it. That doesn't have the music, that doesn't have the dancing. This was really, Tennessee Williams had never done anything like this. And we were very excited about it. We had a great space, the Linney at the Signature, with Austin directing, and we were going to do the whole shamil. We all felt that the theaters would be open by the end of the spring. But as I was reading every New York Times article, every Washington Post article, every Atlantic article about this pandemic, and I don't have a deep science background, but I had enough knowledge to know that this sucker was going to be around for a long time and probably become endemic, meaning that it would be like the flu, that we'd have to deal with it every year. And maybe it wouldn't be mortal the way it is, unfortunately, for many people now. But so I thought, well, I can't be, and I couldn't see my mother in Florida because I felt that it wasn't safe. So I felt that the one thing I could do would be to stay in New York and do something that would bring people a tiny bit of solace and joy. So I called Austin Pendleton and I said, Austin, I've always wanted to do the Night of the Iguana. He knew that. He never wanted to direct it. And I said, but I know that you don't want to direct it. I don't want you to direct it. I want you to play Nano, because I've never been on stage with you and I want to be on stage with you. And he said, I would love to play Nano.
That's wonderful.
And I said, and my idea is, because we had reached out to Emily Mann, like 10 years ago, about directing or bringing Bus Stop to the McCarter. And she was so lovely about it. It didn't work out, but she was just so respectful of my company and my efforts. So I said, Austin, I want to reach out to Emily Mann. He said, I love Emily Mann. He said, do it. And so the very next day I did, and Emily got right back to me. And a couple of days before she and I had a scheduled Zoom session, I saw her and Dylan McDermott do an In Conversation at the McCarter. And Dylan McDermott had done 2 Tennessee Williams plays with her at the McCarter. And they discussed Tennessee for most of that hour. And they both had worked on Tennessee together, had a great affinity for not only one another, but Tennessee. I saw Dylan in this interview and I saw the chemistry he had with Emily. And I said he would make a magnificent Shannon.
He did. He really did. It was quite stupendous. I think it was a perfect choice. By the way, I love the thing about the Red Devil, and I think as soon as this is over, or even on a rooftop, I think it would be fabulous on a rooftop.
We're doing it at the Signature, and we're also looking to stage the Iguana, Night of the Iguana. So we've got 2 very amazing Tennessee Williams plays on our docket, and it's a bit overwhelming, but I think we'll figure it out.
I think we have plenty to look forward to.
We really appreciate your time, your talent, and Night of the Iguana.
Well, Jean Lichty, thank you very much. We look forward to attending your shows when the theater reopens. But what if you want to see a live show now? Well, Broadway's had a couple of very nice pop-ups, right, Leslie?
Well, yeah, actually, you know some of the people who were in this pop-up, Charlie. There was a
Do
pop-up
I?
in Times Square last week, and take a look.
Hi there, can you hear me? Okay. I'm Leslie Hoban Blake. I'm a writer and critic. It's a survey. God wants to know if you want the Bible on your phone. I don't think so. I think it's out of date at this point.
Times Square was a very dangerous place back then. Theaters were being knocked down. Nobody cared about Broadway, but I cared. And Times Square became my personal playground.
We had a lot of fun participating in this Dramatists Guild presentation.
Not only that, I mean, it forced me to write a brand new monologue, something I haven't done in years, and perform something I haven't done in a century.
Right. I had actually planned to do something different when I signed up for the event, but then I just, on a dare, sort of started working on the Times Square one, and I figured, you know what? Times Square in Times Square, that's what you got to go with.
Who would dare you, Charlie?
A lady who shall only be known as the red-headed story mistress. But what if you actually want to go inside a theater? Well, 150 lucky audience members got to see a pop-up in the St. James Theater with none other than Savion Glover and Nathan Lane in a very short event directed by Jerry Zaks. Savion Glover, of course, danced, wonderful tap dance while singing a cappella show tunes, especially from a chorus line. Nathan Lane, in full Nathan Lane mode, good old reliable Nathan, did an original monologue written by Paul Rudnick about the greatest Broadway fan in the world sitting in his studio Manhattan apartment with his alphabetized playbill, who was paid a visit by none other than Hugh Jackman, singing from The Music Man, and PATTI LuPone. Now, I wish I had gotten to see that.
Oh, well,
But-
I'm telling you, we were not among the lucky few. You
No.
didn't do your reliable Nathan. You could have done that whole line from Guys and Dolls. You had your chance to sing on the show, Charlie.
Well, there you go.
Acapella.
There you go. Maybe in the next show.
We promised you a follow-up on the question of what would it take to get you back in the theater based on the submissions that we got from our audience members. And we got quite a few.
Yes.
The
It
consensus?
seems, well, everybody wants to go back to the theater. And the people really just want to get back in, see a live show, be back on Broadway. But there is still a concern about the safety of it. Now, the city and state are allowing theaters to reopen at 33% capacity, but Broadway producers say we can't make any money until it's 75%. So the theater is coming back, as we see, in drips, drabs, and pop-ups, but they're not quite ready to reopen yet, although certain shows apparently are starting to sell tickets. So we'll see.
Well, we were looking at the Times and found an article about the 75th anniversary of Follies. Now, there isn't a 75th anniversary yet. It's the 50th anniversary. But they decided to cast Follies in 25 years.
Right.
And they came up with some very interesting ideas, including...
Yes, Beyonce and Bernadette Peters, who was actually in the last production of Follies, but they figure she'll look like she's 40 when she's 94. So
Yes,
it'll be all right.
That's-
Well, we
And she
decided to
will.
run with this idea, but we don't want to wait 25 years. So what are shows that we would like to see back on Broadway now, and who would we cast in them?
I have a visual for mine. I'm going to start with Your Own Thing from 1968. It was
Okay.
a soft rock musical. It got fabulous reviews. Peter Felicia actually wrote a review of it, interestingly enough, in 1968. And it was a soft rock version of Twelfth Night. And it was beautifully done and very well cast, but with people that you've never heard of. But my cast would be Viola, played by the lovely Ashley Park from Mean Girls. I would like to see Ben Platt play her twin brother Sebastian, and I would love to see Ariana DeBois from the Donna Summer show play Olivia. And if you remember from the show Soft Power down at the Public,
Sure.
Conrad Rockamora would play Orson or Orsino.
Right.
In this particular show, Sebastian and Viola are singers on a cruise line. They have a duo. It's very cute. It really is. And I think it would be very nicely done. Never done on Broadway.
Okay. Well, I would love to see a revival of their Playing Our Song. It has not been revived since the original production, which starred Robert Klein and Lucy Arnaz. This was a show written by Neil Simon, based on the romantic life of the show's composer and lyricist, Marvin Hamlish and Carol Bayer Sager. Now, coming to mind initially were Jerry Seinfeld and Julia Louis-Dreyfus, who would be absolutely perfect in the roles, although they are a little long in the tooth for them. But I'd still love to see that. But
I would too.
Going for an age appropriate and a more out of the box cast, William Jackson Harper as who was Chidi in The Good Place, and country western singer Miley Cyrus.
Whoa.
Yeah.
But that's interesting. I mean, that's really thinking outside the box, as you say. But I would love to see Kristen Bell get back together with with her
with William Jackson Harper. Yeah, I think that would be a wonderful choice also.
Well, the play that I want to see has had one revival back in 1984, and the lovely Patti LuPone was in that revival.
Yes,
Patti LuPone is going to be all over our show today. I did too, and Ron Moody played Fagin. But it hasn't been revived. And I would love to see a revival with the lovely Adrienne Warren from Tina as Nancy, and the equally lovely Raul Esparza as the evil Fagin.
Yes,
who takes all those little boys and makes them work for him.
Yes, he makes them pick a pocket or two.
Yes, he does.
It's a lovely show.
But you got to pick a pocket or two. That's the whole point.
Yes. Well, and isn't that how a lot of us feel with Broadway ticket prices these days? Okay, moving on. Every actress, with the exception of Carol Channing, has played either Mame or Vera in the musical Mame. Yet, it's only had the original production with Angela Lansbury and the revival with Angela Lansbury. But since every actress has played these roles, maybe we need to bring in a few actors. So here are my choices. Charles Busch as Mame and Harvey Fierstein as Vera, because let's face it, who else could sing that role as low as B. Arthur?
Well, I could, darling, because of course I went out on the road with that. But that's a wonderful idea. You know what? That would get me back in the theater, Charlie. That is a show I would turn out for.
Me too. That would be my dream cast. But what shows are actually coming back to the theater? Now, there were so many wonderful shows that were planning to open on Broadway before the pandemic. Unfortunately, a few of them will not be joining us, but we found out which ones will be. First off, a revival of Paula Vogel's How I Learned to Drive with its original cast, David Morse and Mary Louise Parker. And obviously they're a bit older now, but I think this is a memory play. So yeah,
I can see it working.
Absolutely.
I can see it working.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And of course, for those of us who are not Nathan Lane and don't have Hugh Jackman coming into your studio apartment to perform The Music Man, you will be able to see it back on Broadway with Hugh Jackman in the title role, Sutton Foster as Marion the Librarian, and get this, Jefferson Mays, who was restricting himself to one role, the Mayor of River City, and Leslie, one of your favorites, Schumer Hemsley as Marcellus, Harold Hill's old pal.
Oh, that
great.
Is
something I'm looking forward to seeing.
Absolutely. I want to get you want to get Hugh Jackman out of Nathan's apartment. I want to get Patti LuPone out of Nathan's apartment so she can go back to the cast of Company, playing the Elaine Stritch role of Joanne and singing Ladies Who Lunch.
But that's going to be something.
I know, but this is a show where they've done gender reversal on the roles. And so it's a female Bobby playing so it changes the dynamic just a bit about not wanting to get married and,
Right.
what it might mean. But we still get Patti LuPone. And by the way, Bobby is played by the incredibly lovely Katrina Lenk, who won the Tony for
The Band's Visit, yes.
and then the incredible Miss LuPone. I can't wait. I just can't wait
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, now
In
that's going to be very exciting.
I know. In addition, we missed the Lehman trilogy, which stars a trio of British greats, Simon Russell Beale, Adam Godley, and Ben Miles, directed by Sam Mendes. And it's about the founding of the Lehman Brothers banking firm. So,
Yeah. Okay. Mrs. Doubtfire, a musical version of the hit Robin Williams movie starring Robert McClure in the title role. You may remember he played the title role in Chaplin. I guess he only plays title roles, but if the musical is anywhere as good as
because he was in Charlie's Aunt also. That's true.
And if the musical is anywhere nearly as good as the movie, it should be something very special. Now, here is an interesting one. If you can't get enough of the royal family, if Harry and Meghan just aren't enough for you, don't do it for you, well, there is always Diana, a musical based on the life of, yes, Princess Diana. But what is really interesting about this show is that roughly 2 months before it opens on Broadway, it is going to be broadcast on Netflix. And so we will see, will people come to see a live show that they've already seen on television? Let's hope so.
This is an old question. There were other times earlier where things were done like that. And now it's very strange because people are now used to sitting in their living room and seeing everything. So I really wonder. And whether it's Diana that could bring them out, I don't know. But I've been begging for this play to come back. I've shown this thing now a dozen times.
Oh, yes.
Flying Over Sunset, James Lapine. This is Cary Grant, and this is Aldous Huxley, and the lady over here is Claire Booth Luce. 3 real life famous people, all of whom used LSD, hence the word flying in the title. But you had me at James Lapine. I want to see this play. It's a play with music. I don't know if it's a musical. It is a musical. It's a musical. It says music and lyrics, so I assume it's a musical. I didn't even know that. But I really want to see how they interact and what the hell they had in common, if anything. And then my next play on that is Tony Kushner's musical. You never thought you'd hear those 2 words in the same sentence, Tony Kushner and musical.
Well, he wrote the book.
He wrote the book, and Janine Tesori wrote the music for a play called Carol Interchange, based on his growing up as a little boy. And he grew up in the South, strangely enough. And they had a maid who was in charge of the house who told him that any money that she found in his pockets belonged to her. That's basically the story, but it's so much bigger than that.
That was actually the parents in the play. It was the parents who created that role. And if the change was in his pockets in the laundry. Right.
But the big thing about this particular production is Sharon D. Clarke, whom American audiences will only know from Doctor Who on television, but who played the Killer Queen in We Will Rock You. I saw her in 1995 on stage in the West End. And when she hits the Broadway stage, she is going to blow the roof off. She is a powerhouse. So I can't wait to see her.
And it's certainly a powerhouse role.
I think she's already won an Olivier for it in London. So
okay. Also coming back, Sing Street, which we saw at New York Theatre Workshop. This is by several of the creators of Once have been involved in this, and it's staging and production-wise, it is very reminiscent of Once, and something that I think we desperately need, a Neil Simon comedy. And this is Plaza Street. I believe it will be the first revival. These are three separate plays set in the same suite at the Plaza Hotel. And we are getting Neil Simon veteran Matthew Broderick and his lovely bride, Sarah Jessica Parker, who will be playing the roles in all 3 of the plays.
You do realize you've had 2 Neil Simon shows, one that you wanted to cast and one that's coming back. So yes, you're on a Neil Simon. Well, you're on a Neil Simon.
You know, we've had a lot of tears over the last year. I think we need some laughter, and who better than Neil Simon?
Well, there you go. My last ones again. One of them is 6. On March 12th, when the theater closed,
again with the royal family.
On March 12th, again with the royal family. Only this royal family is Henry VIII. On March 12th, we were scheduled to see the musical Six, about the six wives of Henry VIII. It's a musical. They're all based, it's a rock musical. They're all dressed in little short costumes. It's got a lot of advance notice, and then it never happened. So I want to see it. There was a lot of good word of mouth about it. I'm really looking forward to it. And there's been a television commercial for it with a song called Unbreakable. My final show is that one with all those lovely naked baseball players.
There you
I
go.
want to see the naked baseball players. Jesse Tyler Ferguson does not get naked. Everybody else does. I'm sorry. I just have a thing about naked baseball players. What can I say?
And while we're waiting for these shows to open, we can see the musical of musicals, which will be streamed between April 18th and April 21st. It is a fundraiser for one of our favorite theaters, New York. Get the cast: Patti LuPone, can't get enough of Patti for this show, Audra McDonald, Matthew Broderick, Chita Rivera, Hillary Clinton.
Can you say Patti LuPone just one more time? Because she's
Patti
only been
LuPone.
said-
Okay.
Patti LuPone.
It's like Forbidden Broadway. You can't do it without Patti LuPone.
We also have something at the Irish Rep, something brand new. It's a film version of something called The Accidental Star. It's a one-man show extolling the virtues of and performed by our very favorite John Cullum. That'll be from April 8th to the 17th. I'm sure they'll show it again. I'm sure it'll be on demand. I don't know if it's a musical, but I don't know if it's a benefit, but they are selling tickets.
All right. And finally, very quickly, a shout out to the Seeing Place Theater, which recently did a Zoom version of Lynn Nottish's Pulitzer Prize winning Sweat.
And I just want to say we're going to watch this after the Oscars. I hope that Viola Davis and thereby Ma Rainey won last night.
Yes. Okay. And we hope to see you next time
in the critic circle.
And I realize Hugh Jackman's been cooped up too. He's lonely, he's needy, and he wants to be back in a theater as much as I want to see him in one, because he asks me, "Can I sing You Got Trouble from the Music Man for you?" And I'm dumbstruck, I'm floored, and I say, "But I don't even have a piano." And he says, "It's fine, I brought my boombox." And he puts the boombox on my couch, right next to the 5 almost empty cereal boxes and the towel, which is hiding the duct tape, which is holding the cushion together. And he asks, "Do you know the show?" And I try not to act offended. I just get my playbill from the Craig Bierko revival, and my playbill from when Robert Sean Leonard took over, and my original Cats CD with Robert Preston, and my DVD of the movie, and my other DVD of the Matthew Broderick, Kristen Chenoweth TV version, and my high school yearbook with a photo of me in the drama club waiting for the Wells Fargo wagon. And Hugh says, "I get it." And he's smiling, but a little like, "Sure, but you haven't seen The Music Man with Hugh Jackman."